Who was the most prolific female murderer in history? What drove her to commit such heinous acts? Today, we delve into the life and crimes of Elizabeth Bathory, a woman whose name still sends chills down the spines of those who hear it. Born in 1560 into the noble Bathory family, Elizabeth was a child of privilege. Her family owned vast swaths of land across the Kingdom of Hungary, and she was destined for a life of luxury. However, beneath this veneer of nobility and wealth, a darkness lurked. As she grew, so did her viciousness. Elizabeth had secret chambers constructed within her opulent abode, spaces that would soon earn the ominous title of Ladyship's torture chamber. This was no ordinary noblewoman's parlor. Instead, it was a place of unspeakable cruelty and horror. Elizabeth's victims were often young girls, daughters of the lesser gentry. These families, hoping to have their daughters educated in the ways of the court, unknowingly sent them into the arms of a monster. In the confines of her secret chambers, Elizabeth subjected these innocent souls to gruesome tortures. She sewed their mouths shut, burned their genitals, and inserted needles under their fingernails. She cut and stabbed them with scissors, seared them with hot irons and coins, or simply starved them to death. In her most depraved moments, Elizabeth was even known to bite off pieces of her servants' flesh. Her sadistic pleasure knew no bounds. In the biting cold of winter, she reveled in watching people freeze to death. In the scorching heat of summer, she would coat her victim's body with honey and leave them to the mercy of swarming insects. Estimates suggest that Elizabeth Bathory may have murdered up to 650 girls, all between the tender ages of 10 and 14. But why? What could possibly motivate such extreme brutality? Many believe that Elizabeth's motive was vanity. She was convinced that bathing in the blood of young girls would preserve her beauty and youth. This obsession drove her to commit atrocities that would mark her as one of history's most infamous serial killers. In the end, Elizabeth's reign of terror came to a halt. She was arrested and put on trial, where the testimonies of her surviving victims painted a chilling picture of her crimes. Found guilty, she was sentenced to a life of solitary confinement within her own castle. Elizabeth Bathory died in 1614, but her legacy of brutality lives on. She is remembered not as a noblewoman, but as a murderer, a monster dressed in finery. Her story serves as a grim reminder of the depths to which human cruelty can sink, and the monstrous acts that can be hidden behind a veneer of nobility and wealth. And there you have it, the chilling tale of Elizabeth Bathory, the most prolific female murderer in history. A woman whose vanity led her down a path of unimaginable cruelty, forever staining her name in the annals of history's darkest chapters.